who I'm meant to be. This is me. Watch out, cause here I come. Hey, and I'm marching on to the beat of that drum. Hey, I'm not afraid to be seen. I owe no apologies. Chris?
This is you, I guess, because it's not me, because I've not seen the film. I don't want to pretend that I enjoyed it.
I'm seeing it again. I had my second viewing in
You're
it.
seeing it again?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's weird.
god.
I'm Mr. Disney fan, as you know. I've even got a thing that says Disney to the right of me. And rather than seeing the new Disney Pixar film, I'm going to see Greatest Showman again. So that shows how great my love for it is. But hopefully, oh, and also I've got a subscription to Disney Life that I need to use at some point. Anyway, enough of that.
I used to use Disney Life, and I didn't realize they make a load of like spin-off shows of films.
Yes, they
with
do.
Like Sims and Funko Pops and stuff. It's really weird.
Honestly,
we watched a lot of the Frozen series featuring the were they Funko versions? I can't remember.
Was it the Lego one? They did a Lego Frozen
series. It's the Lego one that we watched. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a bit. I watched the first episode of that. I never got around to the other bits. They've got a Tangled TV series as well. I'm a big fan of Tangled. That is definitely worth your time.
And we watched a lot of oh my god, it's this show. It was called like Victorious.
Oh, that's got that Victoria Justice.
Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande in it. That was
one less
weird.
problem without you. One less problem without you.
Emma watched a lot of a show called Liv and Maddie, which is about this pair of twins.
Honestly, it's just one actress playing two people, isn't it? One of them's got
mind-blowing.
One of them's got glasses.
Two girls.
One's got glasses, and the other's is a rock chick, isn't she? Isn't like one's a nerd and one's like a cool girl? Is that
one's the sort of smart hard worker, and one is like the sort of more popular lazy one, and it's all about them. But I can't get my head around the fact that instead of like employ one of literally thousands of pairs of twins, they thought it'd be, because it's so weird, because as soon as they're together on screen, they just have to do these really awkward shots where they use like a body double wearing the wig.
I know. It's actually very well done though.
It's so weird.
I've seen clips of that and they actually do it quite well. But don't
better in stereo.
Disney do this. They get like young actresses who can sing. They put them in a TV show, and then they aim to like obviously give them this platform, and then they give them like this record deal, and then they do very well, and then they become a solo artist in their own right. Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus,
Jonas says, no, it's true. I mean, even way back when to Britney Spears and Timberlake.
Did you see that Britney Spears is touring the UK?
Yeah, she's playing Pride, isn't she?
Yeah, I think the highlight is that she's playing Scarborough. Can we? Britney Spears is in Scarborough, people. Can we please just like think about this for a second? Honestly, I would love to see Britney Spears live. She has a lot of bangers.
Yeah, absolutely. And she would put on a show as well.
Oh,
like there'd be a lot of performance there, you know.
Because after all eyes on me in the center of the ring, just like a circus. A message for all of us, I feel. Hello, I'm Colin. This is have we said who we are? I don't think we have.
No, we never do.
I'm Colin, that's Chris. This is Heroes of Handheld. And usually we talk about handheld gaming, but every now and then we like to talk about Brittany. We seem to talk about her every week because Chris has got her greatest hits and he likes to dance in his room.
Work Bitch is such a good song, as is If You Seek Amy. And that one, what's the Till the World Ends, the Nicki Minaj one? There's like a remix. Oh my god, what is it? I think it's called Till the World Ends.
I prefer the original album.
Yes, with Kesha and Nicki Minaj. Oh my god, it's called the Femme Fatale remix. It's fucking tight. I'm gonna post a link and you're gonna listen to it after the show's done.
I will listen, but the highlight of her career was either the song Lucky from her first album, which was a great tune, and also her Pepsi advert with Beyonce, Pink, and Christina Aguilera back in like 2002, where she's like in the Coliseum. That was the highlight of her career. Chris, this is Heroes of Handheld. Welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this. We are the Heroes of Handheld family. We should talk about some games, I guess. Now we've got the Britney news out of the way, the big story of the week. So, Pokemon Go. Let's kick off with Pokemon Go, shall we? I've been playing it. They've released more Pokemon recently. There's lots of raids going on. There's rare Pokemon everywhere. There seems to be loads of Pokemon spawning. It was the community day last Saturday. Did you get involved with the
I'm
community
not going to lie
Pokemon
to you,
day?
Colin.
You
I've
forgot.
uninstalled Pokemon Go
How
because
could you?
I
How
went
could
to
you?
a couple of raids the week before last, and I tried to catch Kyogre, and I got frustrated, and I was like, it got to a point when I was like, why am I applying so much real world effort and emotion to this game when I just can't be bothered? So I just uninstalled it. I've not looked back since. I unsubscribed from the subreddits. I just had a
No.
purge, and it felt good.
You've unsubscribed from the subreddits as well. That's
Yeah,
cold.
what's the point? There's
Mate,
no
you'll be
point.
back. You can never leave Pokemon Go behind. You will be back. You've done this many times before and you've come crawling back.
Yeah, I know.
But the reason I bring up Pokemon Go, here's a fun fact. I've actually never done a proper raid. I've done raids, but I've not done any of the big raids with other people. I normally just do like the small ones where it's just like a Magikarp or a Bulbasaur
The
or
ones you can do
something.
by yourself.
I don't actually know where these raids take place. That's the thing. Like, I guess I need to find some sort of Facebook page where people go and do it. But yeah, I haven't found it. But the reason I bring up Pokemon Go is they've released many more Pokemon. I say many more. They've released 23 new Pokemon into Pokemon Go. This went live yesterday, and it sort of took everyone a bit by surprise. People didn't know this was coming. They put a tweet out, a press release, and there they are. There are now 23 new Pokemon, and they are from the Hoenn region of Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire video games. So there you go. I've not seen any of these yet in the game. The update was obviously yesterday, and I've not seen any of the new ones yet, which is very annoying because I know people who also play the game where I work have caught a couple of them already, which is very, very annoying. There was also another update to Pokemon Go recently where it's just some small feature fixes, and it's actually very nice. So there was a glitch in the game which when you scroll through your Pokemon on Pokemon Go, I don't know if you saw this before you uninstalled, but when you transfer your Pokemon to the professor to get candies, there was a glitch where if you scrolled halfway down the list of your Pokemon, you
Did they
transfer
fix
one,
that? It goes back to the top.
it went back to the top. They've now fixed that, thank God, because that was the
again.
most annoying thing ever. That was so annoying, so annoying. So that's been fixed, which is good. They've now, when you look at your Pokemon, you can they're categorized into what region they're from. So you can click between each region, and it will show you what Pokemon you've got from that region, which is actually really nice in your Pokedex. Sorry, so that's really handy as well. Trying to think what other updates. I mean, a few bug fixes. It seems to work a bit better. I mean, it's always. I don't know. It's been the past year or so. It's been a lot better than when it first started. Anyway, I've noticed the animations for the weather have improved. They seem a lot smoother now, especially the rain one. Look gorgeous. It's been raining all day, so it's been raining all day in Pokemon Go as well. But the main point of the story: there are new Pokemon in Pokemon Go, so go and catch them. And soon, I'm sure I'm going to have to upgrade my poker storage thing. What's it called? Is there a name for it? Like the storage you have for your can you do that, or is that just for your items?
Yeah, you can
upgrade, can't you?
upgrade. You can get more space.
Yeah.
You build it up. It's like your Pokemon storage. I don't think it's got a name.
Yeah, I think of the you can upgrade the rucksack as well, where you get all your potions and things. Anyway, so that's exciting if you're still playing Pokemon Go, like I am. Someone who I work with got an invite to one of the. Is it called X Raids? The one with the rare Pokemon
with Mewtwo.
Yes, down the road from where we work, and he went off on his break. His whole break was based around this. He went down there, and this is in the pouring rain today. Apparently, 24 people turned up to it. Shows the dedication.
Really?
And what's even weirder, he was saying, like, because I never remember the name of the teams, but he's yellow, and the other team, and obviously it's blue as well. And there was only yellows and blues there apparently, which is odd. But apparently they separated into two groups and then did the raid that way. They didn't mingle with each other, which is really weird. Everyone was asking what team they were, and when they found out if they were with them, they stood with them. If not, they moved away. So it really is like a big turf war, especially.
Yeah, but that to people listening who maybe don't understand why someone would do that. In the game, when you are doing a raid and you are fighting a legendary Pokemon, you get bonuses at the end for the amount of damage that you did and the amount of team damage you did. Yeah. So if you've got a group of just yellows, just Team Instinct, it means that then there will only be instinct damage, so you get more Pokeballs, so you get more chance of catching it. Whereas if you're a mingled group, if you're yellow and blue, it means that you might not come out on top.
But it's
so
interesting when you think about it.
It's just a way of like making it more likely. Like it's kind of it's not really gaming the system. If there's enough of you, I mean, if there's not enough of you, people will go in. But if there's a lot of you there, it's like, well, you may as well split into groups because you're going to kill it anyway. You may as well get like the best bonus for your team.
Yeah, but it's sort of weird because the whole point of Pokemon Go and what they try and market it as is that going out and socializing and meeting new people. And it's really weird that there's this aspect of the game where there's a bit of a turf war there. Like there's a bit of segregation between the teams, a bit of like, oh, I don't want to be with you because you're yellow, I'm blue. I mean, it's good to have healthy competition, but it's a bit strange. Everyone would want to work together, but just to get Mewtwo, because and he did actually catch Mewtwo in the end. He showed me. I was like, holy shit, he actually had Mewtwo, which is cool. Anyway, one day maybe for me. Right, talking of things you play on your iPhone. We've spoken about this last week and maybe the week before about how Apple sort of came out and said that with every update to iOS, older phones are slowed down. And people weren't happy about this because this people have suspected this for ages anyway. It's sort of like the unconfirmed truth about Apple. Everyone knew that old iPhones, old iPads, they're really hard to use because they're so slow. And Apple actually confirmed, which took everyone by surprise, that with every update, they do get slower. And they blamed, the battery life and trying to protect it, make it last longer, but people weren't buying it. But Apple have now confirmed that with iOS 11.3, they're going to be turning off the controversial throttling of older iPhones, which is actually very interesting. This was confirmed by the CEO Tim Cook. In an interview with ABC News, he said that iOS 11.3 is going to be launching this spring. There is an initial beta out at the moment, but this new feature hasn't been implemented. But once the update is out in spring, Apple has said that users will be able to see if the power management feature that dynamically manages maximum performance to prevent unexpected shutdowns, first introduced in iOS 10.2.1, is on and can choose to turn it off. The update also shows more detailed information on battery health for the iPhone 6 and later. So there's going to be an option of turning it off, basically, which is interesting. It's amazing that it comes down to that, really, how simple that is. Just an on-off button, which sort of says how easy it is.
You can read the whole changelog on the Apple website. We'll put a link on here as handheld.wordpress.com. But one of the things that I think is really interesting is that they have said that in this update, you'll be able to view and analyze how well your the health of your battery and how efficiently it's running. Because a lot of the reasons that this throttling is put in place is to supposedly to conserve battery life, right? So the idea is, your battery will run for longer if your phone runs slower. And they've they've sort of pinned it in America anyway. They've reduced the cost of getting your battery replaced because they say that's a big factor in why phones slow down, is because the battery isn't powerful enough to store a charge for long enough that your phone can run at max potential.
Yeah.
So I think this is quite interesting. But it's that kind of thing of like, I would rather you made a phone that worked for 2 years than gave us a feature to see how badly the phone was working after 2 years. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like putting a plaster on a problem, which is a lot bigger than that. And it's like the next generation of phone, like it should be fixed at the manufacturing end rather than at the user end.
They should have batteries that last longer than 2 years, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the long and short of it, really. They've got enough money to invest in it. They obviously just don't want to, and it's obvious why they don't. But yeah, it's just annoying. I mean, the fee now for changing a battery for an old iPhone is now $29, which is the reduced rate. I'm not too sure how much it used to be, but it still seems weird that, fair enough, it's a reduced price, but they're still charging for it. It's a bit weird that you're still giving them money, and because obviously it's been made more obvious now by the original statement that more people are going to be paying this $29 now to get the replacement. So maybe they're getting more money. I don't know, but it is interesting. It'll be interesting to see actually how old phones operate now, if they have that option turned off, and see if they do still work fine, but then the battery life goes down quicker. I don't know. We won't see.
What iPhone have you got again? Are you the same as me? 6S?
Yeah, 6S I've got. So my phone's fine and dandy. Woo!
Do you ever think about upgrading?
Have I got a 7? How do I know? Can't remember. I might have a 7 actually. How do you? Is there a quick way, Chris? You know iPhone's better than me. Yeah.
If your button,
Mm.
your thumb button,
Mm.
is it built? Is it when you click it? Does it click the whole screen or just the button?
It clicks the whole screen.
Then yeah, you've got a 7.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I've got a newer phone than you. So suck my ass, bitch.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting bit of news. But I want to talk about the main event, Colin.
Oh no, here we go. Please tell me what this
And
is.
this went live like 2 hours last week after we finished.
Oh, it's not about
it's a little thing.
Video. It's not about the video. The news that's going to break the internet. Please.
It's a little thing called Nintendo Labo. So because we're a week behind on this, I mean everyone's going to know about this by now.
Please.
What was your reaction like to the Nintendo Labo?
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought it was a joke. I thought,
really,
this has to be a joke. Come on, this can't be the big announcement or supposedly huge announcement. The big innovation, the thing that's going to get people, flocking to Nintendo Switch who potentially don't already have them. So, I mean, it looks quite cool, but it is a bit weird. Come on, it is weird. This isn't great. Come on. Don't try and play the I love Nintendo card. This is pretty bad. What are they doing? I know they like weird stuff and it's all for the kids. They can build stuff with their parents, but not being funny, Chris, but I don't really want a cardboard fishing rod in my house.
Here's the thing, Colin.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
Yes,
it's clear. They clearly said it's designed
for the younger heart. I have younger heart. It should be for me.
Right. Yeah. If you were truly young at heart, you would enjoy the idea of turning your Switch into a robot suit. I think it's really cool. I think it's like a really interesting way of bringing peripherals into the Switch without making more plastic shit. I think it's going to get kids playing and building games. I think the different ways of showing off of using the software is incredible. But you can make a piano with cardboard and your controllers.
Great.
The only thing that the issue that I have with
if I was to get the piano, all I'd do is play that Beethoven song. Is it Beethoven? It goes dun 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 dun. No, the only song that anyone knows. The only song that anyone knows.
Yeah, you mean Fur-Elise.
Whatever.
But the actual thing you would only do is play da 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 da. You know that really racist
what?
Generic Asian chimes noise. You know the one I mean?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You play it with the sharp notes, and it's like ba 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 ba.
Oh, you're doing a terrible version of that. It's ba da da dun dun.
How does it go? Dun. Yeah, exactly. You'd play that. Anyway,
is that Kung Fu Fighting?
I really like Labo. I think it's a little too expensive. Like, given that it's made out of cardboard.
Lay it on me. How much is this? How much is the robot suit going to be with the wire?
In the state, I need to look up the UK prices actually. I'm not sure what it is in the UK, but in the States it was around the $70-80 mark.
That's not as bad as probably worse than
in the UK. The variety set pre-order is £60.
Right.
Which is the one that's got the keyboard, the fishing game, the remote control car, the house.
It's an RC car. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And the robot kit is a bit more expensive. It's upwards of $70. Yeah, so if you buy the cheap one, you get the Tycoon car, Tycoon fishing rod, Tycoon house, Tycoon motorbike, which is cool, and Tycoon piano.
Bike. Sorry.
I like it. I think it is a bit expensive, and I worry about how delicate the cardboard is going to be.
Yeah,
but I think it's a cool announcement, and I think it's Nintendo being weird. I think it's Nintendo.
It is very weird,
bringing it a way that children can, like young children, can enjoy the Switch without having to get too into the technical of it. I think it's better than them making thousands of plastic Wii remote fishing rods that sit in charity shops for 10 years time. Yeah, it was a surprising announcement, but I'm on board. I think it looks really cool.
I mean, I guess you can say this is Nintendo pushing the boat out and not doing the obvious and being creative. I have to say, like, looking at the things you get on the Variety kit, the coolest thing there is the RC car. So, with that car, does it actually like move around? Does the car actually drive? But I guess it won't drive with it. Do you have to like push it? That's not good enough.
I don't know. I
That's
think it might. I think it might try. I think it might use the rumble.
Well, come on. There's a house, and one of the Joy-Cons is in the chimney. What use is that? You don't want the Joy-Con in the chimney. Come
I think
on.
I think it looks cool. I think you need to get over yourself.
Come on.
But with obviously with something like this, we'd love to know what you think at home. So you can tweet us at Handheld Podcast, or if you want to send in longer than 280 characters, heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. We'll read out your thoughts next week on this because it's obviously a big story. I think it's going. I really like it, and I think it will get really interesting when the third parties get involved as well. I think that could shake the game up a little bit.
But then it could be something like, with the PlayStation Vita, God bless its soul, when they had the AR cards. Like they're trying to get all these games to get invested in it and release all these games, but no one did. The only games that you had were the ones that Sony had licensed because they wanted to show off what they could do. I remember there was a fireworks game on on PlayStation Vita where you put one of the cars down, you put the terrible camera on it, and then like fireworks blow up, and it's just like, oh, this is.
Oh yeah, you could. The 3DS had a similar thing as well, like Face Raiders and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Face Raiders. I remember. My 2DS had for all of 5 minutes. Good times, good memories.
So yeah, that's Nintendo. Let's talk about PlayStation because they've announced some quite interesting merchandise things.
A couple of things, actually.
The first of which is a new range of kind of collectibles, which aren't quite amiibo, but they look similar. I mean, so this is they're called Tataku, and it's a set of characters which are plastic, and on the base the shape is a plus, like PlayStation Plus, and they're about 4 inches high, which is why they're being compared to amiibo, because they're of a similar size. The difference being that these don't appear to be interactive. There's no mentions of NFC or anything, and obviously the PlayStation doesn't have NFC built into it as far as we know. They're made by ThinkGeek, and there's 7 figurines in the launch, including the Hunter from Bloodborne, Crash Bandicoot, Parappa the Rapper, Kratos, Sackboy, Hihachi, and a ship from Wipeout.
That picture, like they've got those 3 at the top. They've got obviously they've got Parappa in the middle. They've got Kratos on the left. Who's that on the right? Can't see that. He's on the right. The guy with the big axe.
That is the Hunter from Bloodborne.
Of course. It's a bit of a weird, diverse lineup, isn't it? Like, you got, like, Kratos and that big old war with the axe, then there's, like, Parappa in the middle. It's a bit weird.
And it's
odd.
To me, it's kind of like with Amiibo, where the characters that are cartoons look a lot better than the characters that are more realistic graphics.
That Kratos looks quite good, though. I think the graphic looks quite nice.
Yeah, it looks okay, but, like, the Parappa and Sackboy look really good. But anyway, I imagine... this will, I would imagine that we'll get more of these in the future. Probably 4 or 5 months down the line, we'll get a wave 2 with, like Aloy from Horizon, Nathan Drake, Spyro, that sort of thing. So keep your eyes peeled. But I know the collectors amongst our listeners will be really keen for these. But that's not the only merch they announced this week, Colin.
Now, this is very strange, but I oddly do want a pair. So there is a collaboration with Nike and Paul George and PlayStation. Now, I'm not familiar with Paul George's work. I'm going to assume he's a basketball player. And what Chris is going to do, he's going to Google. Yes, he looks like a basketball player. So he's put a post, this Paul George has put a post on the PlayStation blog, and he has announced this collaboration. So basically, long and short of it is, there's going to be a PlayStation-themed line of shoes, which is going to be based around the basketball sneaker that you get in America, the high top and the grip on the bottom, and basically based like trainers, but a bit of a high-tech version of trainers. They're going to be called the PG-2 PlayStation colorway. And these look very nice, actually. The biggest feature of these is that on the lip, is it called the lip or the tongue? I think it's the tongue, the bit at the top of the train.
Tongue, yeah.
On the tongue, there's going to be a logo, so either the PG logo or the PlayStation logo. And the interesting thing is that this will illuminate and pulsate blue just like when you turn on the console. And it's actually really cool. There's a video for this, and it was interesting because they said there's three different three different styles for the light. You can either have it on, you can either have it off, or you can either have it pulsating. So there you go. It also includes the back heel of the left shoe has a unique barcode that contains a PSN voucher code, which can be redeemed on the PS Store for a Paul George dynamic theme for your PS4.
Whoa!
Whoa! The colours of the sneaker pay homage to the buttons of the DualShock 4. So, you know where the laces come out, the little holes, they're all different colours that you get on a PlayStation controller from the DualShock 4. So that's quite a nice feature. The iconic PlayStation symbols are embossed in patent leather on each shoe. The look of the PG dynamic theme is reflected in the sock liner on each shoe. So these actually do look very nice. I mean, it's not really the sort of thing. I mean, I don't know whether these can be worn casually without you being looked at a bit weird. I think perhaps these are designed more for the athletic type, so people who play basketball, maybe runners as well, you know, or people doing exercise. But I'm not going to lie, I do like the sole inside and the PlayStation emblem, which pulsates. It does look very, very cool. It's definitely worth checking out the video because it does look very nice, and it's an interesting collaboration. Really, it's a bit. Well, Nintendo, Sony both doing very odd things this week. And I don't know, I sort of want a pair. I mean, they release on February the 10th, so a couple of weeks. I can see if we've got any prices yet. I've not actually checked. We probably just have the American price. Let's see if we've got anything.
I don't think these are really designed for people to play sport. They seem much more like wearable ones than trainers, because they've got big like battery lights in them. Like I feel like anyone who takes running or basketball super seriously probably isn't, but they do look. I can't work out whether I think they look really cool or whether I think they look really tacky. I'm still on the fence about it.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's a thin line, isn't there, between the two sides of the coin? But I'm trying to look at them. Yeah, it's an interesting collaboration. I just wish I'd heard of Paul George, and I wish that basketball was a better, a more popular sport over here. There's actually nothing. I can't see anything on the British site about them.
Well, apparently Paul George is like known for being a basketball player who's really into video games as well, so it's kind of cool.
Well, that's good, and it looks very cool. So definitely check out the images there; they do look very nice. And the video that they released, the announcement video, has got the shoes floating in space, which is
cool.
So there you go. Right, so I want to quickly, very briefly, mention my experiences with Zelda Breath of the Wild before we get on to the Nintendo Switch news. So I've been playing more of Zelda this week. As you know, last week I was struggling a little bit because you informed me that I was still in the very first bit and I hadn't actually left the tutorial zone yet. And I was like, are you kidding me? I've been playing this for fucking days. So I got a bit fed up, and I did cheat a little bit by finding... I told you I was having a problem. You know that frozen section? And obviously that's where one of the shrines is. I was having trouble because there was a broken bridge and I had to get across it, and I could see there was a panel there that could be moved, and obviously I had the magnetic power, so I was moving that forward, but when I was standing on it there was still a big gap, and obviously Link doesn't jump very high, so it's not worth trying to jump at all. But I was hoping that I could use the magnetic power to move the panel across, but it wasn't working. I was getting really fed up. And then one morning, just before work, when I was playing, I actually texted you saying, F this game, F this FD game. It's such
you were so annoyed. It was really funny.
And what was annoying, I had to keep going back over to the campsite where the fire was to cook some more bloody food to give me, like, cold ability. So I didn't freeze to death, which was annoying. But I was literally just there like, what do I do? And then I literally turned Link around, and I noticed there was another panel leaned up against the wall. And yeah. I found the shrine. I got the power. So now I can use ice blocks in water to make little stepways, which is nice. And then I found the other shrine. I ended up climbing up a massive mountain, then climbing down the mountain to get to it. I left it. I decided to get more agility. I've got the glider. I'm in the big old world, and it's very fun. And it's good to be talking to other NPCs in the game, which is actually nice, and actually finding more story, more things to do. I think I've tamed my first horse. I jumped on it and keep having to pat it, and then every time I try and run it just leans to the left, but I think I've got it under control now. And yeah, I've done a few more shrines, battled a few more creatures, and I'm into it. I get it now. I get the hype. So I just need to continue playing, I guess. I'm on my way to a village at the moment to find out how to defeat the big villain, the big evil guy. But it highlights how far gaming has come, actually. Because the other day I was playing COD World War II on my Xbox. I'd pause that. I'll pick up my Switch and continue playing a bit more Zelda. Put that down. Back to Call of Duty. Then I turned off Call of Duty, put on FIFA 18, played some of that, and every time the ball went out or it was paused from the other player because I was playing online, went back to Zelda. So it's just amazing, like how gaming is just everywhere.
So you were playing online, and you were playing online FIFA, and the ball would be out for 30 seconds or less, and you'd be playing Zelda in that time.
Well, not so much that, but when the other player pauses the game, because they can pause for up to 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Which can be very annoying. And when someone scores, if the other player does something, like there's a foul and the other player's got a free kick or they score, if they don't skip the long animations, you're waiting a long time. There's nothing worse when they do not skip. It's so effing
It's like that in
annoying.
Rocket League. Same.
Yes, like you never skip the goals. And it's very annoying.
That's because I skipped the goals that you scored, but I saved the goals that I scored.
So annoying.
Speaking of Breath of the Wild,
in
this week, Reset Era, someone has posted a user called Ishan has done the maths, and they've posted that this game is now the most popular Zelda game in Japan in the last 18 years. So it's still not quite as popular as Ocarina of Time, which is obviously, iconically popular. But the sales figures are out, and it's really interesting. It's almost at 1 million sales in Japan. Not many. There's a few games that are close to it. So Majora's Mask is at about 800,000. Wind Waker's at a little less than that. Phantom Hourglass as well. But yeah, this is clearly being like a very popular game in Japan. And I don't know if it'll overtake Ocarina of Time, but it is kind of cool that it's creeping up on it. So yeah, that's in the last 18 years, it's the most popular. So basically, for a generation of players, this is the most popular ever Zelda game. Do you want to move on to the Switch news? Because there's a lot to cover.
Yes, let's talk about some Switch news, please. What is the first item?
Let's race through, because we've got a couple of announcement dates, including SteamWorld Dig, which is coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's obviously been out on every platform under the sun, and it's going to come out on February the 1st for $9.99 or €9.99. This comes from Image and Form Games, and obviously I don't know what's happening with SteamWorld Dig 2. I can't remember if 2 is already out on Switch. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe it is.
So the first. Hold on. So the second one, is this the first one? Fifth one. Yeah, I'm not too sure. It feels like SteamWorld Dig's just been out forever. It feels like it's been out.
SteamWorld Dig 2 is out on Switch, according to.
So the second one's out before the first one.
Yeah, because the second one came out everywhere, I think, in last year.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, let's bring you the first one as well. So that's kind of cool. D-Pad Studios as well have also announced that Owlboy, the game, is coming to Nintendo Switch on February the 13th. Also PS4 and Xbox One. Owlboy is this it's a platformer. It looks quite interesting. It's been out and announced for ages. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
That's not the best owl I've ever seen. Looks more like a bat. Those weird antennas.
Well, they weren't going to call it Bat Boy.
Batman. Anyway. Right. Okay.
Anyway,
why are we making
what else
music?
Is Colin?
Well, I was looking at the articles you put in, but I've also seen this one about Rollercoaster Tycoon, and I read about this. This is an interesting one. Here's how Atari are trying to get a new version, or is it the old version? The classic... Yeah, the classic version of Rollercoaster Tycoon onto Nintendo Switch. So people are a bit unhappy about this, and the reason for that is rather than Atari, fitting the bill themselves and getting it all done, with the money that they've earned, because they do claim that they've made millions from games in the past, they are asking for fans of the series of Rollercoaster Tycoon to lay down their own money to help make this happen. And they haven't done it through Kickstarter. They've done it through a website called Start Engine, which I haven't heard of. It looks like it's a similar idea to Kickstarter, but the only catch is the lowest you can invest in this is $250. So that's the lowest. And the perks of investing that money is that Atari Game Partners you'll be called an Atari Game Partner. That'll be your official title. Will host investors site online. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I'm being stupid here. Atari Games Partners, so partners of Atari, will host an investors site online, and you will have the option to have your name listed on that page. Woo! If you invest $750, you get the same perk as I just read out, and a discount of 25% off the street price of the game at launch, valid for a purchase of 1 unit of Rollercoaster Tycoon Nintendo's. Hold on, so you put down this money and you don't get the game?
It's more of
What?
an investor's call, though, isn't it? It's not like
Yeah.
Kickstarter where it's like you can pay $10 and get a game. This is a lot more like
Like if
big business type
companies
thing.
want to get
Yeah, yeah,
involved,
yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. This and it is. I saw an article somewhere that Atari in the past have said how they've earned millions from the games that they bought out, and yet they're still asking for money for this. So their goal, the goal is 1.07 million dollars, I believe, and I think for this to happen, they had to raise a certain amount. It's a bit of a weird. I mean, Start Engine it's a weird how this all works here. They had to get a certain amount for it to happen, and I think they have reached that amount. They're currently on $20,950. They've got 32 investors, and there's 89 days left on here as well. So I mean, Rollercoaster Tycoon. I can't say it's a game I've played that much or ever thinking about it, but I know it's very popular. If I remember rightly, didn't a newer version of it come out a couple of years ago and it was really badly received? Like it didn't work properly or something, and it was like a massive. It was just terrible, basically. I think, but I've never played these games. I don't know if you have, Chris. Have you ever played Typhoon?
I know I
Typhoon.
played the hospital one, but I never played the roller coaster one.
So there you
But
go.
that was years ago. But yeah, it's an interesting site. The court. So the other little bits of Switch news
Yes.
is that. So do you know the company Korg? They're a music production company.
Cool.
They have announced a Korg gadget coming to Switch. So basically, it looks like a the app is called Korg Gadget. And it's a music production and instrumental studio suite that comes out. You can use it by. It looks fairly user friendly from the pictures. It's more information on Korg's website. There's also multiplayer mode, so you can team up with friends, up to 4 of you, and make songs together. And you can play on the TV in your living room as well. It looks quite interesting. They've kind of announced it. It doesn't look like there's a date or anything yet, but we'll put a link. And if you're kind of musically minded, you can click on that and have a little read. And the last bit of Switch news, this is kind of cool, actually. So Rocket League support on Twitter, someone asked them about cross-platform play. And a tweeter said, "Are you currently working on cross-platform play? Can't wait to play Ranked with my friends on PS4." Because obviously, there's already cross-platform on this game between, I think it's Xbox and PC.
Yeah, it's something to do with Xbox, isn't it? I mean, I know Sony were a bit iffy about this, weren't they? When it was first announced, they didn't want to. They weren't interested.
And Rocket League have replied saying, "Hey there, we're actively working on cross-platform party support for a 2018 release." There was a reply then, will there be cross-platform play for Nintendo Switch and PS4? And they said, "Hi there, thanks for reaching out. At the moment, there are no official words on cross-platform being added in the near future. Remember that it also depends on each platform's terms of use. There's a lot to be taken into consideration, far from just our game only." So watch this space. Basically, I mean, it looks like they're working on it. But, you know, fingers crossed, but will be interesting to see what happens next with them. I mean,
I do remember. I remember we spoke about this quite a while ago, and I swear, I think Xbox were all in on it. They were fine with it, but I think Sony weren't interested or didn't want to.
Well, it's happened with Minecraft. Minecraft is the big example of this, where Sony said, we don't want to do cross-platform play because we can't guarantee that the user base will be moderated in the same way on other platforms as it will on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see with this. There is some 3DS news as well, actually, Colin. If
you've
got the time.
What's a 3DS? What's that?
What's a 3DS? So 2 bits of news for you. First of all, some new Nintendo Selects titles have been announced. So this is for the US this time. Nintendo Selects is the basically it's like the Nintendo Highlights range. It's kind of like them saying, "Hey, these games are really great, so we're going to reprint them and they're going to be available for a lot cheaper at a permanent price cut." Starting for February the 5th, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds Super Mario 3D Land will be re-released as part of Nintendo Selects at the low price of $19.99. So this is quite cool, actually. And I've seen as well that some players are reporting Ultimate NES Remix are going to join as well. again for 1999. And February the 5th, these come out. So if you're in the States and you've had a hard time tracking these games down, you'll be able to pick them up there. And this is cool, Colin.
Yes,
This comes from Polygon, but other places have reported it as well. The Nintendo 3DS has apparently had, in last December, had its best ever sales month in the United States since 2014. So according to Nintendo, citing NPD Group sales estimates, the company sold more than 750,000 2DS and 3DS systems in the month of December last year, a 27% increase over the same period in 2016, and it now means the 3DS has sold more than 21 million units in the US, according to Nintendo. I mean, obviously there are a couple of big releases for 3DS, including the Ultra Pokemon games last year, but it kind of shows as well that if Nintendo were doing well on the Switch, it reminds people of the conversation around the 3DS, and it's good as a 3DS user to see that the system isn't dead, and clearly is still selling well enough that hopefully Nintendo will continue to make great titles for it.
And they've got the new 2DS XL coming out, haven't they?
Yeah.
26th, that's tomorrow, in a couple of days' time, the Pikachu one.
I
forgot.
Yeah, it's really
so
cool.
But yeah, maybe it's because some people were trying to buy gifts for family members and they couldn't find a Switch anywhere, so they went to the next best thing, 3DS. Looked to other options there were. But no, it's good. It just seems like the 3DS, anything with DS in it, just will not die. It just keeps on coming. It just keeps selling like hotcakes. It's just like, I don't know. It's just nice. It's nice. More people coming into the handheld flock. Just shows like the popularity of it's not depleting at all. And I'm sure they'll be supporting it for many, probably years to come. I can't see an end in sight really to the 3DS support.
I would love to know. And listeners can help with this. If you've got teenage children, what's the vibe at schools like with DSs? Because when we were at school, we were a little bit past the DS generation, but I mean, Game Boys were so big in our school. Everyone had a Game Boy. Everyone brought them in during lunch and played games and traded Pokemon. So I wonder if what that is like for kids at the moment, and whether the 3DS is the same. So if you've got kind of not young children, but like school-age children, hit us up at Handheld Podcast on Twitter.
I think a lot of schools ban that sort of stuff, and I'd probably say for 3DS, like maybe younger than teenagers, like
it's maybe too expensive, isn't it? Because sometimes they ban them in fear of getting nicked.
I remember when I was at school, it was all about Crazy Bones and Pokemon cards and Power Pods, all the good stuff. Kinder Eggs, not Kinder Eggs. Never really did Kinder Eggs. But no, I actually saw a really interesting, quite a funny and awesome photo on Reddit last week where there was a guy at a university in America. He was in class, or maybe it was college, and he had a rucksack on the table in front of him. He had it unzipped, and in the rucksack was his Switch, so the screen, and he had a big hoodie on. He had his hands in his pocket, and he was playing Super Mario Odyssey. So he had the Joy-Cons in his pockets playing it, and he had like the screen in his rucksack. It was like the perfect hideaway for a Switch. It was awesome to see. Obviously not good that he was playing Switch when he should have been learning, but still pretty awesome. People are loving the game so much that they're playing it wherever they go.
I've really got back into Odyssey. We talked about this a little bit last week, I think. Jesus, that game is so good. It's so fluid and so satisfying.
It is.
And I'm on like 7.
I've only played it, but I played about 20 minutes of it, and I was hooked. I really need to get it at some point. Such a great game.
I'm on 700 and something moons, and it is just so wonderfully joyous to play because the challenges are so micro. Like, it's so addictive to do that just one more moon, just one more moon, just one more moon thing. And now I'm trying to go through and get like 100% each of the levels. And it's so like it's just so satisfying to tick the moons off, and then you need a little hint. There's a little hint there if you want it, but if you can't, work it out, you can get an even bigger hint. So there's options there for you. That game is it's just a masterful piece of developing. It's so fun to play. It's just wonderful.
It's brilliant. Chris, can I show you a game that I have?
Yeah.
Look at my camera. I'm going to keep talking so you see it. Just keep talking.
Hey, buddy, welcome to the fold.
I've not played it yet. I don't don't know when I'm going to play it. I want to keep playing Zelda. I'm worried that if I stop playing Zelda, I'll find it really difficult to get back into it.
Yeah, give it a little. Well, we can. There's no rush on the Splatoon train, my friend. We can play. Oh, that's Splatoon 2. Colin was showing off, by the way. We can play this weekend if you want. It's but there's no rush. Take it easy.
I'm up for that. Once I've travelled with my horse to the region, I don't know what the name of the region is, but I've got to go to a village anyway. So, right, let's talk about this week's group chat. Group chat is the section where we have a topic. We give you, the listeners, a chance to answer it. You have a week to let us know on Twitter or by email, and then we give our thoughts as well. So, Chris, what was the group chat question last week?
So we were talking about, it was a bit of a weird one. We wanted to know when you've been the most creeped out in a game. So we weren't talking about like jump scares necessarily, but we're talking more about when has a game like really got under your skin and made you, made you crawl with nerves and with creeps and with, anticipation. And we had a really good tweet from Kev on Twitter. He said, Eternal Darkness on the GameCube creeped me out with the human flesh-bound book and the insanity effects. Great gaming experience. Have you played Eternal Darkness?
I have not. I didn't have a GameCube. So, yeah. Have you played that?
I'm trying to remember. I think I played it at a friend's house. It was scary. Yeah, developed by Silicon Knights, and in 2002 it came out, similar to Resident Evil. Yeah, there's all this kind of sanity play as well. It was really hard.
There's a picture here from it, and there's a picture of some Roman emperor like in like big Roman armor, but he's got a skeleton face. Creepy.
Yeah, and you had to keep your character sane, and the more creeped out your character got by seeing bad guys and bad things happen, the worse the environment got around you.
Oh, that is really cool. I like the idea of that. I've never even heard of this. This looks really good. Creepy, but really cool. My God, I'm just looking at the images here, like some of those imagery. There's a guy wearing actual Roman attire, and he's just standing there looking confused.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you very much for your tweet, Kev. Really appreciate it. Chris, what's the most scared you've ever been playing a game? Where have you been the most creeped out?
I wanted to think specifically about atmosphere for this. There's a couple for me that stand out. I think it's worth mentioning BioShock, because what BioShock does so incredibly well is it takes an environment that should feel amazing, and by wiping almost all of the sane people out of it, it goes from feeling amazing to feeling absolutely terrifying. And every corner in that game, it's not even like there's a little bit of jump scare, but just the atmosphere of like this old-timey music. Everything's got this kind of steampunk vibe. And then every now and then you'll just hear this like the clunking of a big daddy coming around the corner, or you'll hear like some splicers cackling. And it's just, that game is incredibly creepy and atmospheric. I think Last of Us as well is really quite special for that. And the thing Last of Us does really well is there's loads of like subplots and diary extracts you can find which give you this kind of sense of dread, and that game goes from 0 to 60 in terms of you'll be outside and it'll be peaceful and kind of puzzly, and then you'll have to go somewhere and the spores will be there, and as soon as the spores are there, it's like, oh fuck, this is going to be scary. But a game I wanted to mention, which I don't know if you'll have heard of, Colin, is a game on PS2 called Gregory Horror Show.
Gregory Horror Show. Yeah.
So Gregory Horror Show is a survival horror game. It came out on the PS2 in I think 2003, 2002, and you play as a young boy or a young girl who gets taken to a hotel which is filled of the most weird, bizarre, creepy characters, including Gregory, who runs the hotel, who's a mouse who walks around with a candle. You've got Judgment Boy, who's like this boy who's basically a roulette wheel. Death is there as well.
Of course.
And sorry?
I said, of course. Death is there.
Yeah, of course. There's like zombie cats. There's a nurse with a massive syringe. And basically, you have to work out all these characters' patterns. You have to try and take their souls. But once you take their souls, they go from being friendly to unfriendly. So you'll have a really good relationship with a character, and then you'll essentially betray them because you need to betray all these characters to get out. And then once you do that, the game like twists completely, and they go from being your pals to absolutely hating you and chasing you down and trying to catch you. The game is terrifying. It's never got released in America, but it was over here and in Japan. Gregory Horror Show it's called. It's on PS2, and yeah, it's quite creepy.
That is odd. The characters look like something you get in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's got that Five Nights vibe to it, but with story and atmosphere and stuff that Five Nights doesn't have. What about you, Colin?
Now, there's two games that I think of when I consider when I've been the most creeped out in the game. One of them I've mentioned before, which is one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. And that's Darkness, The Darkness, which came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 back in 2007, I want to say. Quite an old game, really ridiculously creepy. For those of you who don't know, it was an open world RPG sort of game where you played as Danny, I think it was Danny Escatado or something. He was some Italian mobster, and he finds out on his 18th birthday that he's got the power of the darkness, which is basically this demon spirit that lives in him, where he can have these snakes come out of his back and kill people. He can make vortexes. He can summon demons. It's all very messed up, based on a comic book. And then there's a really effed up part of the game where your character tries to commit suicide because of certain things that have happened, and the whole level takes place inside the mind of the darkness, actually inside this demon force that's in you. And it's the setting is like something from World War II, but with demons. It's really hard to explain, but there's a bit in this level where you're going through the trenches in this war-strewn world, and every now and then there'll be lightning, and every time there's lightning, a character will appear on screen for a second with every flashlight and then disappear. And honestly, it made you jump every single time. It was so creepy, dark as hell. But that is one thing I want to talk about. I've mentioned the darkness before, so I'm going to go on to my second option, and that is Condemned 2, which was a horror story-driven game. I can't actually remember the actual story. I believe there was some weird cults and they were killing people. It's all very strange, but the Condemned 2 was very, very creepy. There's a lot of jump scares in it. There was a level where you have to go around this house, which is filled with meth addicts.
Oh, wow.
Bit strange. And you had to go through this house, like searching for things. You had to destroy meth labs and things like that. And every now and then, like a meth addict would jump at you, and it would scare the crap out of you. There's one scene I remember where I was walking around this room. It was empty. There's no one in there. So I go into the bathroom. I'm looking at the mirror, because my reflections in the mirror. Looking around, there's nothing there. I crouch down to look, get up again, and I turn around, and I'm face to face with one of the meth addicts. He's literally right at my face. Oh my God, I probably screamed like a little girl.
That sounds horrendous.
It was a weird game, and there was a really convoluted story. I sort of lost interest towards the end, a bit weird. The first one was better. And there's also a really great level in Condemned 2 where you have to go around this house out in the wilderness, this cabin, quite a large cabin. And there is a bear in this cabin, and you've got to try and navigate this whole place without the bear killing you. It's really weird. You have to be really quiet. You have to be really careful where you step. If you do one wrong move, it will chase after you. One wrong move, and it's going to bite your face off. It was such a weird game. It was really creepy, and you can probably pick it up now for under £1, I'd imagine. So if you're interested in a creepy game, I would definitely recommend Condemned 1 and Condemned 2. The Condemned 1 is better, but Condemned 2 was very interesting as well. So that's what I would say. I was very creeped out. That whole bit with the meth addicts was really weird and really scary. It was in the dark. It's all dark. Like, there was no music. It was really atmospheric. Like, you'd hear like footsteps, you'd hear dripping, you'd hear things fall in the distance. Oh my God, what was that? But yeah, really great. Really enjoyed that game. Very creepy.
I want to set the topic for next week.
Please do.
And I want to, because you've been playing Zelda, and because you've fell in love with your first horse.
Yeah.
Let's make things a bit happier. What are people's favorite horses in video games? And by the way, I mean, a lot of people are going to say Epona from Legend of Zelda series, which is totally fine. But if you've got another opinion, then we'd love to hear that too. How can people get in touch with the show, Colin?
So many ways. You can tweet us at Handheld Podcast. We tweet all throughout the week. We love to hear from you. We'd love to speak to you. So if you've got any thoughts on what your favorite horse is in video games, let us know. You can email your thoughts to heroesofhandheld@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, go to the contact us button, click the button, and then you can just fill out the form and it'll come straight to us as well. You can leave a review on iTunes, on Stitcher, we're on Facebook, we're on Google+. We are everywhere. Just search Heroes of Handheld Podcast on Google and you will find all the deets that you need to know. We'd love to hear from you, but we'll be back next week for more handheld gaming goodness. And I'll be really interested, I think we mentioned it before, people's thoughts on Nintendo Labo. See if people are in on this, if they're keen, or if they think WTF like I did. So
especially people with young children.
Yes.
I mean, all thoughts are welcome, but obviously that's because that's the target audience.
Yes.
And I think we have got a couple of I know we've had tweets in the past from people who do have young children and play a lot of handheld games as well. So then give us a message at Handheld Podcast on Twitter or go to handheld@gmail.com. Colin, I love you.
Would you kindly finish the podcast?
Very good.
Nice. Here's a fun fact for you. I never actually finished that game and I never got into it. And I watched the ending on YouTube because I couldn't be bothered.
Oh, of course you did, 'cause you're an asshole.
Oh, it's so boring. It's so boring. Those crappy puzzles with the pipes. It's just boring. And then I was like throwing stuff at crazy people and there's this weird doctor. It's all a bit weird, you know. I don't like games where your health doesn't automatically regenerate and you have to get health packs yourself and like get syringe. I didn't like that.
What, you mean like real life?
Yeah, well, video games aren't real life. Douchebag. Anyway.
Douchebag.
Bye, everybody. See you next week. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.